Hold up, before you start planning memorial tributes and farewell speeches, let's pump the brakes harder than a referee stopping a count. That headline claiming Braun Strowman announced his definitive retirement after a career-ending neck injury? Yeah, that's about as real as a worked shoot interview, which is to say it's completely fabricated nonsense designed to make you click. The monster among men hasn't retired, his career isn't over, and whoever wrote that headline needs to be put through a table for spreading misinformation. Now that we've cleared that up, let's talk about what's actually happening with Braun Strowman, because the real story is way more interesting than fake retirement drama. Braun Strowman was released from WWE earlier this year, marking his second departure from the company that made him a household name. That's right, second release, because apparently getting fired once wasn't enough of a learning experience for WWE management, who brought him back only to eventually let him go again. Since that release, Strowman's wrestling career has been in a weird holding pattern. The former WWE Universal Champion, a guy who main event WrestleMania and competed at the highest levels of the industry, hasn't wrestled a single match for any other promotion since leaving WWE. Not AEW, not NJPW, not Impact, not even the independent circuit. Radio silence on the wrestling front. Now, for most wrestlers getting released from WWE, the immediate move is hitting up other promotions, taking indie bookings, maybe signing with AEW if Tony Khan's checkbook is feeling generous that week. But Strowman has been completely absent from the wrestling ring, which naturally made fans wonder what's going on. Is he injured? Is he waiting for WWE to inevitably bring him back again? Did he just decide professional wrestling wasn't worth the physical toll anymore? Turns out the answer is more complicated and honestly more interesting than any of those theories. Part of the reason Strowman hasn't been wrestling is because he's been eyeing projects outside the squared circle, specifically in the world of reality television. Last Friday, his new reality TV series, Everything on the Menu, premiered with 2 episodes, and the show received a nice promotional boost thanks to a social media back and forth between Strowman and Paul Heyman. Because apparently even when you're not wrestling, you're still working wrestling fans with social media drama. It's like they can't help themselves. In an interview with TMZ Sports, Strowman explained the origins of the show, and honestly, the backstory is both hilarious and surprisingly thoughtful. The concept is beautifully simple. Strowman travels across America attempting to eat every single item on the menu of whatever restaurant he stops at. It's part food challenge, part travel show, part watch this giant human consume an absolutely unreasonable amount of food spectacle. It's basically man versus food if man was a professional wrestler who looks like he could bench press a small car. But here's where the story gets real and connects to that fake retirement headline. The idea for Everything on the Menu actually came up while Strowman was recovering from a legitimate neck injury back in 2023. Neck injuries are no joke for professional wrestlers. Your neck is basically the foundation for everything you do in the ring, and when it's compromised, your entire career hangs in the balance. Strowman was facing a long recovery period, and during that downtime he started re-evaluating his life and career in the way people do when they're forced to confront their mortality and physical limitations. According to Strowman, he was considering what he could do if his pro wrestling career was forced to come to an abrupt end. That's a sobering reality check for any athlete, but especially for wrestlers who've built their entire identity around performing in the ring. What do you do when the thing you've dedicated your life to might suddenly be taken away because your body can't handle it anymore? For Strowman, that meant exploring other opportunities and passions outside wrestling while he still could. One day during his recovery, Strowman was on a phone call with his agent Nick and his close friend Kevin, who's now the producer of Everything on the Menu. They were brainstorming, throwing ideas around about what Strowman could possibly do moving forward if wrestling wasn't going to be the long-term plan. It was one of those free-flowing creative conversations where everything's on the table and no idea is too ridiculous to consider. Then things took a hilarious turn. Nick and Kevin started giving Strowman a hard time about his eating habits, specifically about how when he goes out to restaurants he likes to order 3 or 4 entrees at once. Now, most people would be embarrassed about having an appetite that requires multiple full meals in one sitting. Not Braun Strowman. His response was basically, well yeah, look at me. I'm 350 pounds. I didn't get this way by accident. I'm still a growing boy. That's the energy we need more of in the world, complete confidence in your appetite and zero shame about needing more food than a normal human being. They kept making fun of him about his eating habits, and Strowman fired back with what would become the entire concept for his TV show. He said, man, half the time I go to these restaurants, honestly, I wish I could order everything on the menu. And just like that, a reality TV show was born. Someone in that conversation realized that Braun Strowman attempting to eat entire restaurant menus would be genuinely entertaining television that people would actually want to watch. Think about the genius of this concept for a second. You've got a massive professional wrestler who's already a recognizable name thanks to his WWE career. You've got the built-in appeal of food challenges that have been popular on television for decades. You've got the travel element of visiting different restaurants across America. And you've got Braun's personality carrying the whole thing, making it more than just a guy stuffing his face for views. It's the perfect combination of elements that could actually make for successful reality programming. What makes this story even more interesting is how it reflects the changing landscape for professional wrestlers in terms of career longevity and diversification. The old model was you wrestle until your body completely breaks down, then you maybe become a trainer or a backstage agent if you're lucky, and hope you saved enough money during your active career to survive. The new model is wrestlers branching out into other ventures while they're still active or using their wrestling fame as a launching pad for completely different careers. Strowman exploring reality television isn't him giving up on wrestling, it's him being smart about building multiple income streams and opportunities that don't require him to take bumps and potentially worsen existing injuries. The neck injury he suffered in 2023 was apparently serious enough that it made him genuinely consider what life after wrestling might look like. It might mean he's being selective about where and when he works next. It might mean he's still recovering and making sure his body is completely ready before taking bookings. It might mean he's focusing on